Hi everybody, welcome to the start of July's weekly card class. For the month of July, we're going to be focusing on the Coneflower Celebration stamp set and die bundle. These products feature in the new annual catalogue for 2025, and I must admit they were a firm favourite of mine as soon as I saw them. So I've been excited to share some designs with you, some ideas with you all, and I hope over the next 4 weeks you will learn some interesting and fun techniques to bring this product to life in your craft room. Each week I'm going to be sharing a new card design, and there will be a different technique shown on each card, and we won't necessarily be using all the stamps and all the dies at once. We'll be using bits and pieces as we move through the class. Each week a new video will be live at 2 o'clock on a Thursday afternoon, and all the links are in your tutorial email that I sent to you. If you don't have that for any reason, please do get in touch, although if you are watching this video I'd like to think you have it. But any questions along the way, please feel free to reach out. These cards are only shared with you who have joined the class this month. They are no longer being shared with a public audience, so they are exclusively designed just for this class, and the only way to see the designs are if you join the class. So feel free to share your designs far and wide. Please don't share any of the links to the videos, but if you do run classes, feel free to use any of the techniques in your classes as well. So for week number 1, we're starting off very, very gently. We are just going to be using the images from the stamp set, okay? So this is predominantly a line drawn stamp set, great for colouring with your colouring medium of choice. The sentiments are interesting. The sentiments are definitely not what drew me to this stamp set, but I do really enjoy the sentiments, how I've played around with the set, and I can really see a use for them. So it's your day, great for a vast number of occasions. You made my day. Lovely thank you sentiment. Thank you, celebrating you, and happy belated birthday. You could easily alter that sentiment so it just says happy birthday if you wanted to. And then we have some more detailed sentiments. We have, I'm sorry I missed your special day, and let's extend the celebration. I love that I've known you for so many birthdays. There's so many people that I think I could send a card to with that sentiment that would be well received, and I'm sure I will be sending those cards. You have a little bit of a background sort of texture image, lots of little dots and speckles, a butterfly, the flower head, the stem, and then 2 choice of leaves. It is a photopolymer stamp set. You can see that all the stamps are here. Some I've used before. It is a photopolymer stamp set, meaning that you can see through the stamps. They are clear in the design, and the dies that coordinate I will share with you next time. I have used one of the layering dies in this card design this week, and it is this. It's a row of connected O's. Wasn't really sure what I would use that for, but I have come up with something for this card. So this card here is just using the stamped images. I'm actually going to be cutting around these because I'm going to show you how you can layer the, I now have the hiccups. I can show you how you're going to layer these stamps together to get a singular flower image. And I'm going to share with you just a few simple colouring techniques to bring this image to life. I'm going to pop my card over here so it stays in the frame. And then cards, bits and pieces in your card kit. You're going to need card number 1. So you have a card base that's cut from thick white card. You have a strengthening layer, and that's actually for the inside of your card. You can't see it because I haven't done anything with it. You have a piece of white card that's going to be stuck onto the middle, and then you have a piece of A5 white card, sorry, A6 white card, had to do the maths there, that is going to be for your stamped flower. Now, any piece going forward that you see with a corner cut off, that is for stamping. Okay, so it just ensures that you've got some pieces in every kit that you can stamp with. So the first thing I'm going to do with this stamp, I'm actually going to stamp it with Memento ink. Memento is always the best ink pad to stamp with when you're using stamping blends, which is what I'm going to colour this image with. I've got a selection of subtle shades there, bright, and I'll talk you through that when we start stamping. So I'm going to ink up my stamp, my flower head stamp with Memento. Now, because this is a large image, you can use a stamping mat under your piece of card if you want to. but it's entirely your choice. I'm going to stamp this in the top right hand corner because this is going to give me space to stamp my stem and my leaves. It stamps beautifully, actually. It looks really, really nice in black and white. The next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to stamp it with the stem. Now the stem is actually quite long. So I haven't actually used the whole of the stem. I'm just going to use part of it. So you want to make sure that your stamp is clean. That's the first thing to do. Getting my stamping scrub. Stamping scrubs are always my go-to product for cleaning my stamps. It's one of the first things I ever bought many, many moons ago, nearly 12 years ago now. And I just love it. And I know how you associate smells with things. I had real joy when I started out stamping. I just loved the way everything coordinated. I felt like I had a sense of kind of creative freedom. And this smell of the stamping mist just takes me back. It's strange, isn't it, how the brain and mind work. So I love my stamp scrub. Right, so I want my stem to kind of come down into this corner here. So I'm going to just carefully ink up my stamp so that it only inks up sort of 2/3 of the image. And then carefully you want to line this up. And you have something that looks like that. So there we have, we've shortened the length of that stem and we've got a singular image now that we can use. So using the leaves, now which leaves did I use? Let's have a look. I used this leaf. So we're going to do something similar with this leaf. So first of all, make sure it's clean. I would always avoid using something like a baby wipe with your stamps, especially photopolymer stamp, because the little fibres can just get into the image and it will just change the way it looks. So this one, we want to partially stamp this. So what I want to do is I want to make sure there's a little bit of that edge of the leaf that is going to overlap that stem that doesn't have any ink on it. So we're just using our ink pads very, very carefully, and what my favourite word is, strategically. I use that word all the time during the week, and it's crept into my craft room. I knew it would only be a matter of time. So there we now have our leaf that looks like it is attached to that stem. Okay, and then we're going to do the same with the other side. So doing exactly the same. I'm now bringing it over to the right of the stamp pad, and I've got a very defined line there, which I'm going to use to line up against my stem. And there we go. So that is my singular image that's been stamped with 4 different stamps. Now, can you see that? So that's worked out really, really nicely. So because we've stamped it all together, you cannot die cut this. So we're going to colour it. So first of all, I've got to show you the colours that I've got here. So I want this flower. I don't want there to be too much colour because I've used all the colours on the next 3 cards. So I've got here, I've got Pumpkin Pie Light, Daffodil Delight Dark, Lemon Lolly Light, Soft Seafoam Light and Dark, Old Olive Light, and then Pool Party Light and Dark. So what I'm actually going to do is I'm going to start on the centre of the flower. And actually I might need the dark as well. Where's the dark? Yeah. I'm going to start on the centre. What's it called? The middle part. Can't remember. This is where if I was live with you all, you would all help me out. What's it called? The centre. Pop it in the comments because I still can't remember it when you watch. So I've just gone around the edge with the dark orange. Then I'm going to bring some shading in with the light. Like so. And then I'm going to go in with the dark yellow. And what you're doing is you're just changing, that's a lid. you're changing the colour every time and making it lighter. And what that's going to achieve is that's going to achieve this little shadow effect. And then you're going to use the light lemon lolly. Took me a while to say that. And just leave a little gap in the middle that's white. So there you've got a nice graduated look to the centre of that flower that I still can't remember the name of. Anyway, so next I'm going to move on to my stem, and I'm going to use my light soft sea foam, and I'm going to just get the colour down. So my advice when using blends is when you want a sort of subtle look, don't overthink your colour, just get the colour onto the image. So that's given me a really light look to the point where you can't even really see it. And then I'm going to add some darker detail with the dark shade. So this is still soft sea foam. Can you see that getting darker? You can just see that, I think, on the screen. There you are. So it's getting darker there. You can see that. And then I'm going to use my light old olive, and I'm going to go over just the inner point of this leaf. And by using this over the top, you get a really nice tonal effect because it is a different colour. Remember the birdhouses that we had last year? I spent what felt like days and days and days watching the wonderful Patty Bennett from America, who is my if I were to meet her, I would be starstruck. Love Patty Bennett. I just watched her colour, and she introduced me to colouring with different colours at the same time, and it just blew my mind all the time. I thought, well, surely you can't do that, but no, you can, and it's wonderful. So that's my leaf finished. I'm going to let that dry to see if I want to add any more colour to it. And then I'm going to use the light pool party, and I'm going to use this just really carefully on each leaf, but I'm not colouring the whole leaf. And I'm just using it to create a sort of light effect. Sometimes white, when it's in the sun, it can have a little blue tinge where it's reflecting from the sky, can't it? And then I'm going to use the darker one just in the sort of corner, the tops of this, of each petal. Now, so I know the name of those petals, to just highlight some of that detail. Okay. And then just go back over with the light to blend that together. Now, I know I've given you all a product list of products that I've used, but I think there might be a few along the way that I've not put in that image, so do be patient with me. And then I'm going to take this dotty background image, and using a smoky slate ink pad, I just want to add more detail to this image. I'm going to stamp off just onto this spare space here, and I'm just going to stamp over it, and it's just giving a little bit of texture to our petals. And you can't really see that. Even if I hold that to the camera, you're probably not going to be able to see it, but let's try. Okay, so you can't really see it, but I can see it. So that is my finished flower that I'm really happy with. So now all I need to do is cut this out. So I'm going to use my snips. This week's Stamping Up told us, as my worst fear realised, that the manufacturer of stamping of paper snips, our wonderful scissors, has stopped making them. So ladies and gents, stock up, because they are the best scissors ever. And once the supplies have gone, they will not be available. So I'm sure they're working on a new design, which will be just as fabulous, I'm sure. But us crafters that get stuck in our ways with our products, stock up on snips. Just add a pair to your next order. I know I've done that. I find them everywhere though. They're all over the house, and the girls have a pair each for their craft boxes. My husband has a pair in his toolbox. They're just fabulous. I've got a pair in the car. So I'm just following this round. If you are not comfortable with fussy cutting, you can, of course, stamp all these pieces separately, like you're building modular furniture, and attach them all together. You'll notice while I'm cutting, I'm not moving my scissors. My right hand is just resting on the desk, and I'm moving the piece of card. Now, you're probably all expert fussy cutters. If you is anyone watching that is not a fan of fussy cutting, that is always my top tip. So there we have our stamped, coloured and cut out flower. Now the rest of this card design is just going to, oh hang on, something's happening with my camera. It's just going to build really, really nicely and quickly. So bringing in our pieces from our card, what I'm going to do, I'm going to use this square piece that is going to attach to the front. But before I do that, I want to attach these pieces. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to use some double-sided tape, and to the top and bottom, the reverse of the top and the bottom, I'm going to just attach a piece of double-sided tape so that it sticks right up to the edge of the card. It doesn't matter that this card is 10.5 centimetres square, so there is no top or bottom. Just choose two opposite edges. Peel off the back. I can feel the edge, there it is. And then you want to take, you can use a silicone mat if you have one. Silicone mats are great when you're doing gluey things. So I'm going to pop that there on my silicone mat. This is clean, my ink has just stained this. You want to line it up so that you can just see a little bit of that along the edge. You're creating a scalloped edge, and that's stuck down nicely with that the double-sided tape. And then do the same to the opposite end. There we go. So that we now have our scalloped edge using that circular, that row of circular, what are they? Circular dots or spots. So I'm going to attach this to my card with some foam pad. There's also foam pads between the card and the flower. So just be mindful of how you're going to gift this. If you're planning to post it, you may just need to think about extra postage charges. You can always stick this bit down with liquid glue so it's flat. And then that sits in the centre of our card, like so. And our flower is going to get stuck on across the front. Again, use some foam pads for these. If this is the first time you've joined one of my classes, then you will quickly realise how much I love foam pads. They are a complete non-negotiable in my craft toolkit. I just love them. Peel off the backs. Now, I'm not going to stick this on just yet. I'm just going to leave that to one side, because what I need to do is I need to stamp my sentiment, and I probably should have stamped that first. So apologies for that. I know there's something I'd forget. So let's hope this works. So the sentiment I'm using is, I'm sorry I missed your special day. Let's extend the celebration. And let's pop that I'm just going to ink that again. This is just with Memento. Put that down there. Hope that this stamps well. That's not bad, actually. I should have stamped it first though before I stuck that piece down. So once you've stamped your sentiment, you now know you will have room for your flower. Attach your flower like so. And then take a black fine line pen, Stampin' Up! Do sell these, not these ones, do the Stampin' Up! One. And you just want to carefully do a few little black dots. And what it's doing, oh no, what it's doing is it's just adding a little bit of detail to that space in the background. And then last thing we can do for the front of the card, I'm going to use these flower accents. And I'm going to attach these. Right, I'm going to use that there to cover up my little mishap. Embellishments are a great way of covering up mishaps on your cards. So I have 3 little dots on the front. And then for the inside of my card, I'm going to take this white strengthening layer and I'm going to just draw a little line around the inner white edge. And because this is a birthday card, I'm going to stamp "It's Your Day" in the centre. I haven't done this on my sample, but we think of these things sometimes afterwards, don't we? Let's put that down there. Okay, it's your day. And then use some just wet glue. Not sure what's happened there. That's gone really runny, that glue. I'm just going to take some of it off. Again, use your silicone mat to get rid of any mishaps. And then attach this inside the card. There we go. That's the first card of July's card class, all finished. Do let me know what you think. If you did want to share your finished cards back with me, you can do that on my Facebook community page or just tag me on social media with @StampinWithStaceyMarsh. And as always, if you have any comments or questions, please reach out. And I will see you same time, same place, Thursday next week at 2 o'clock for card number 2. Have a great week and I look forward to speaking to you soon. Bye for now, everyone.